Well, welcome back to Channel Ron. Today I'm going to be installing a hardwired smoke detector in this bedroom. It used to be right on the other side of that room right there, but we turned that into a closet. So now what I need to do is extend the wires over and put a smoke detector in here. So I went up to Lowe's and picked up the BRK First Alert hardwired with battery backup smoke detector. And we're going to go ahead and install that. So let's get started. Now, the first thing we're going to do is going to figure out whereabouts we want this. And I'm probably thinking right about here is going to be a good spot, not far from the door. So we're roughly just going to measure over from that light over about a couple of feet. I'm going to go up in the attic. I'm going to make sure that I'm between the strapping. I'm going to kind of come down with a small hole to kind of give me a guide. And then we'll come back down here and we'll cut our hole and put our cutting box in. Okay, we're up in the attic and I got a pretty good idea on where that light is. So it's right over there. So I'm going to head right over in that area and see if I can find that light and measure over a couple of feet. I brought the wire with me and I'll talk about that a little bit later. All right, so there's my light right there. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to measure over a couple of feet right over in this area right here. And I'm going to push my screwdriver down through. So you can see that's what you're trying to avoid. You got the strapping and you have these studs in the way for the sealant. So you want to make sure that you have a clear spot. So now that I've got a pretty good spot, I'm just going to take my screwdriver. I'm just going to kind of push that down through. And that's going to tell us where we can cut our hole. Not a very glamorous job, as you can see. So now that I've marked my hole, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 14-3 and I'm just going to kind of lay it close to that hole, and I'm going to take the other end of the 14-3 and I'm going to put it over to where the other smoke detector is. That way when I cut the hole, I can just kind of reach up there and grab it. On the other side here, I think what I'm going to do is I think I can kind of push it down inside the box a little bit and hopefully grab it so I don't have to come back up in here. Okay, I've located my other smoke detector that I'm going to come out of, and that is right here. So just move the insulation away. Remember to put the insulation back. All right, so there's a 14-3 coming in there and a 14-3 coming in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my other wire that I'm going to add into eventually, and I'm just going to kind of push that down in there on one side of that box, just like that. So when I get down there and open up that box, I should be able to pull that down as much as I need. Again, make sure you get your insulation all back to where it needs to go. And now that we've determined where the hole is going to be, right here, you take your sealant box. This is a cut-in box with some ears on it. So once you put it up in there, these ears flop out as soon as you hit it with a screwdriver or screw gun and holds it in. So what I usually do is I kind of just find the center there, kind of line it up as best you can, and you take your, if you don't already have one, your Channel Ron pencil, and I kind of just outline it kind of lightly, like this. And what that's going to do is that's going to tell us that is going to be the edge of the box. And what we want to do is we want to be just inside that box about 1/4 of an inch around. Just kind of outline that ever so slightly. And we're going to cut this line, not this line. And then if we have to trim it a little bit, we can. And we'll slide that right up in there. And hopefully we can just grab that wire that I showed you up there. The insulation's all pushed back down. Pull that back down and put it in a box. Okay, next, what we want to do is you want to take your keyhole saw. I'm using the Southwire keyhole saw that I picked up from Lowe's. And an interesting little trick that I learned years ago working in clients' homes is when you're cutting the sheetrock, all the sheetrock dust is kind of falling down the floor and you got to vacuum it up. Well, you should vacuum it up anyhow, but one of the things I learned years ago was to take an old Tupperware container, put the Tupperware container up through your keyhole saw, and now when you cut, all your debris falls inside. So let's go ahead and cut our hole. Remember, you want to cut that inside line, not the outside line. Yeah, now you can dump that out. You're going to have a little debris, but not as much as you would have if you didn't have that. All right, before I reach up there and grab my cable, I'm going to kind of pre-fit the box. Make sure the ears are all snug up against it. Just kind of pre-fit it. All right, I need to open up just a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of mark out up in the areas that I want to go. Just a little bit more. I'd rather take my time and take a little bit of time than too much and have to dealing with trying to repair the ceiling. That looks like it's going to go up there with no problem. So now reach up there and you should have your wire. Should be right there. Just take that, install it in the box, like so. Pull yourself down plenty. All right. Go ahead and push your box up in, like that. Okay, then take your Phillips screwdriver, and when you start turning those little ears will flip out and start snugging down. Keep turning those until it's snug. You'll feel it. And there we go. The box is secure. Okay, next, you want to take your wire strippers. I'm using these Southwest wire strippers. And what I usually do, some people take a razor knife and kind of cut down there and pull the insulation. Usually what I like to do is go ahead and grab a hold of the ground with your wire strippers and just kind of pull. And it will strip it all back for you. And then you can kind of reach in there and go ahead and cut all the insulation out of there. Discard that. So now you have your neutral, your hot, and your red one is going to take care of the connectivity between the fire alarms. Get that ground up out of the way because this device does not require ground. Go ahead and come down about maybe 5 or 6 inches. Strip about 1/4 of an inch off. This is the number 14 wire. Now in your kit, it's going to come with a little plug for the smoke detector. So you got 3 wires: the neutral, the hot wire, and then the red one, or in this case the orange one, for the interconnection. Go ahead and strip those. Take your wire nuts. The orange will go on the red wire. Black one on the black. And the white on the white. Should look something like that when you're done. So now just kind of turn those easily up inside the box. Get those out of the way, leaving this pigtail down. Alright, next you're going to need to put a couple screws in. And a lot of times this stuff doesn't come with screws, so you're going to have to find your own screws. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I don't quite understand why that is. But anyways, find yourself a couple of screws, and then you should be able to take that plate and slide it one way or the other, and then go ahead and snug that down. There you go. Go ahead and take your smoke detector and just go ahead and plug it in. Hopefully we can get a shot of that. Just like that. Just lock it in. Done. So now it's on battery right now. And it's not interconnected, obviously we got to do that. So if I go ahead and push that test button, now the smoke detector is working on battery. It's a nice little fail-safe, so if we lose the power, that will still work. So now let's go on the other end. Okay, now on this end, we're dealing with something a little bit different, because we're dealing with the voltage that is on. So go ahead and remove the smoke detector, and then take your tick tracer, okay, that's what I call it anyways. And again, I get this is self-wire as well. I've been switching all over to self-wire tools. I've been very happy with them. You go ahead and turn that on, and if you put it up in there, okay, that red light is telling us that it's live. So we really don't want to fool around with that until we shut it off. So let's go ahead and find the breaker and shut that down. Okay, let's go ahead and test it again. All right, nothing. All right, so the circuit is dead. So now we can safely pull that down and connect our new wire. Okay, so let's go ahead and loosen up that faceplate. Let's get that out of the way. Let's pull our wires down so we can see what's going on. Remember that wire I pushed down in? Well, there it is, right there. So now we don't have to go back up into the attic for anything. So all we need to do is just repeat the process we did in there. We need to hook up this wire. Red on red, black on black, white on white. Now I know that we're not using the ground, but we still want to connect the ground going all the way through the circuit, just in case there's ever a problem. So I am going to go ahead and hook this ground up to here. If there was another wire in the other box of the ground, I would definitely hook that up, but that was a dead end. Let's go ahead and cut our insulation out of there. Kind of pull these ones down a little too far. Push those back up there. Alright, let's go ahead and get our ground out of the way. And as I do this, I'm going to kind of push those up out of the way. There's really no set pattern on which way to do it. I'm just doing the easiest ones I can get to. This one seems to be the easiest one to get to next. Here we go. Let's go ahead and put this one back together. Same thing with the other one. There we go. Go ahead and turn our power back on. Here we go. And the other ones should start kicking in. And they are. So they're all working. Wow, that'll definitely drive you out. They're all working, so that's basically how you install a smoke detector in a building that may not have smoke detectors, or maybe you're just going to add one to another room is exactly what I did here. So remember, make sure you shut down the power before you continue anything like this. And thanks an awful lot for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.